Hello, everyone. It is Bizarro. Actually, I should be saying goodbye, everyone.
I was gonna say, don't you normally do the Bizarro thing?
Yeah. So goodbye, everyone. If I'm saying hello, it's the end of the video. So welcome to another edition of Bizarro Style. I am Bizarro, and I have a special guest with me today, Tewtytron from the Tewty Toons series.
What's up?
Yeah, say hello.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
So welcome to the show. Thank you for being on with me. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
If you are not familiar, Tewtytron does the Tewty Toons series on YouTube. You can find it by typing in Tewtytron. Oh wait, I left the Y out. So it's
It's okay.
Tewtytron. So Tewtytron, and you can find the Tewty Toons series, which hopefully we will get to talk about a little bit when we do what we're about to do. But before we get into what we're going to do, I wanted to get to know you a little bit, Tewtytron, and introduce you to the audience in case they don't know you. So you are an owl, correct?
Correct.
So when did you start playing DC Legends?
Well, I wasn't one of the early people. I wasn't one from the beginning. I think I started either when Livewire, Robin, or Supergirl dropped. Like, if I search my memory, like as far back as it'll go, those are like the first pictures I remember seeing on like the TV screen in the back of the main lobby of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that was 2016, but I could be wrong on that. But it was a long time ago. I've seen quite a few changes and updates happen over the years. So
yeah, I think my first month was Wonder Woman Defender of Justice. And that seems like it was pretty close to what you're talking about, because I remember Livewire is one of the first ones I saw too.
Right. I feel like it was shortly right after I started then.
So what drew you to the game?
Well, I was playing Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes at the time, and I was completely free to play back then. And I was just searching the Google App Store, and I was like, ooh, a DC version. That sounds way more fun. And I downloaded it, and I was like, this is like the same thing, but cooler because it's DC. But then I actually took like a 3 or 4 month break before I finally got back into it like permanently.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I really like turn-based strategy games. I played a lot of Final Fantasy growing up, so it's just kind of meshed with my personality of gaming.
So I take it that means then you're a bigger DC fan than you are a Star Wars fan.
Yes, by far.
Yeah, me too.
I prefer DC over Marvel as well.
I like Star Wars, but I grew up with DC as a kid, so I'm heavily drawn to it too.
Yeah.
So why Tewty Toons? Why did you decide to do the series? And maybe you can tell the audience a little bit about what the series is supposed to accomplish.
Well, okay. So I joined the Owls a few months ago, probably like 6 or more months ago. And we got to talking in the Alliance chat or something, and someone suggested like, well, if you want to talk about this stuff, why don't you just do a YouTube thing about it? And I was like, that's not a bad idea. So I just like hopped in, tested something real quick, and I enjoyed it. And I apparently started a little thing going, a little community, and it was working out well. And the point of it is to bring light to like the lesser known characters, the underused, the non-meta characters. And that's what it started out as, and that's what I try and keep it. But lately, I've been trying to be, with the current momentum of the game. So, like, I'll try and gear up the Siege Toon so that when the sale drops, I can do a Tewty Toon on them and be like, this is how good or bad the character is. I've also done events like Martian Manhunter had an event. Supergirl had an event, so I did them as a Tewty Toon just because I wanted to be like current.
Right.
But I've kind of fallen away from the non-meta, unfortunately.
Yeah, so you're not anti-meta.
Well, That's not entirely true. I am an avid hater of Wonder Girl and Power Girl. I think they're well. We'll talk about that later. But
yeah, I think a lot of us hate Wonder Girl, but we also love to hate her and hate to love her.
I do not have her geared. I left her at Gear 0. Same with Power Girl. I did not touch them because I did not want to be a hypocrite.
So before we were recording, I said that I had one question I wasn't going to tell you, and that question is, who is the tootiest Tewty Toon?
That is a wonderful question. So, that is on the spot. That's definitely... All right, you know what? I'm going to go with Hippolyta.
Interesting choice.
Because of all of the non-used, non-meta tunes, I feel like she is one of the completely most underrated, and I'm sad I haven't gotten to do a Tewty Toon on her yet. I will eventually. She's on the list, but she was one of the first characters that I didn't pay for her, but I really focused on trying to get as many of her fragments as possible, and I fell short, and it's taken me almost my entire career in the DCL community to try and get her to L5, and I have the fragments for her, but the last legendary point isn't.
Yeah, I think I just got her enough frags for L5 out of the shop. And there's something about her that I really want to like the character because it feels like she has a lot to offer.
Her last legendary point I don't find is worth it on the draw swords ability, so I just didn't put the legendary essence in. But I will if she ever gets a rework. But I do find her to be very, very good, especially her leadership ability.
Yeah, she's one of those tunes that every time I look at her on paper, she looks like she should be really good. And
she hits really hard. She does.
Yeah, she definitely doesn't get the love that she deserves. So it's a good choice for the tootiest Tewty Toon.
Thank you.
So the reason we wanted to do this together was that we wanted to find a way to talk about a lot of different topics in a short amount of time. So the way we're going to structure the rest of the video is we essentially, before we recorded, we wrote down 8 or 9 topics each, and we shared them with each other, but we have them totally random. So I mailed Tewtytron a big giant wheel with all the topics on it, and he's going to spin the big wheel, and whatever topic it lands on is the topic we're going to talk about for a few minutes, and then we'll move on to another topic. And the reality is we actually don't have a big wheel. We're just using a random number generator. But just pretend he's spinning a big wheel.
Very colorful. No, that's...
So, you want to spin the big wheel?
Let's do this. All right. I've landed on 16.
Ooh.
What quality of life improvement would you like to see added to the game?
What quality of life improvement would you like to see added to the game? So, do you want to talk about what a quality of life addition is for those that don't know?
Yeah, so they've done numerous quality of life updates throughout the game's existence. Like, you used to not be able to ×3 speed, or you used to not be able to do your ×3 speed force either. It's a bunch of other stuff like that. Just basically makes the game easier to navigate, easier to use, so you don't have to spend most of your time scrolling or clicking buttons just to get through stuff.
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed a lot of the quality of life improvements because they have improved my quality of life.
Right.
So, do you want me to answer first, or you want to answer first? You're the guest, so I'll let you go first.
Okay. All right. My idea was to just have a better way of scrolling through the character roster, and I realized they just implemented a filter, which not a lot of people enjoyed at first, but I think now that we're getting used to it, it's slowly becoming better. However, I think that was just it should only be a temporary fix. I want the roster's over 100 characters now, and it takes a very long time to get all the way to the end.
Yeah.
So I just want them to reorganize that structure for
Or maybe
us.
they could have like a slide bar at the bottom where you can easily slide all the way to the other side.
I mean, maybe, but at the same time, like if you do, like I mentioned earlier that I played the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes game, and I've also dabbled with Marvel Strike Force. I didn't play it for very long, but they have just smaller icons, and they can fit more of them on a screen, and they scroll down instead of side to side. So that wouldn't be that difficult. It would kind of suck that our icons are smaller, and you wouldn't be able to see the beautiful art that they have implemented on the characters, but I mean, at least as well as you do now. But I think that would be a worthy thing for us.
And maybe what you could do is have it as a choice so that you can either have the small icons or large icons.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how difficult that would be to code, but that's up to them. I just want something to appease this because it's getting ridiculous.
One thing
What was your answer?
Sorry, what'd you say?
What was your answer to that question?
Well, before I get to mine, I was going to say the one thing I think they did that was really good is it used to be if you went into a character and then you came out, you went all the way back to the beginning of the list. And now when you come out, you're right where you were, which is right at that character. And I think that was a big help.
That did help. I agree.
So my quality of life improvement is, because you were talking about the filters, and I'm a little baffled by some of the filters because if I'm playing a female Gem Blitz, I don't really need a female filter because the characters are already filtered for me. But one thing I would like to see is a team leader filter, and why they don't have a team leader filter is beyond me.
Yeah, or like, just like, it doesn't necessarily have to be leaders, but like, what if I wanted to make a bleed team or a stun team, and I want to like navigate via like niche character, you know? So I agree with you completely. That would be great.
Yeah, the team leader filter was the one little quality of life improvement I would love to see in the game.
That one would probably be the easiest to code since
and just, you know, that little crown that they use that same little crown so I can filter out my team leaders.
Right.
All right, so should we spin the big wheel again?
Let's do it. Let me get over here. Okay. Number one.
Ooh.
Favorite character in the game.
Favorite character in the game. All right, so if you don't mind, I'll go first on this one.
Absolutely.
I had to think long and hard about this because there are a lot of characters I really do like. And just so the audience is clear, we're not picking who our favorite character is personally. Because personally, my favorite character in the real world is Firestorm as a comic book character. But in the game, I chose Larfleeze. I absolutely love Larfleeze.
Fair enough. I kind of did consider it as favorite role, but that's okay because it's pretty close anyway for me. I was gonna say Raish Al Ghul, but since you say it's in game, I'm gonna say Talia Al Ghul because she's like the effective Al Ghul. She has survivability and damage and bleeds, so she's got everything that I want in a character. So she's my favorite. Why did you pick Larfleeze? Just because he murders
I just like the skill set, the ability to purge debuffs from himself. I mean, he hits hard. I know he's considered a glass cannon, but he can heal himself.
That guy like never dies when I'm fighting him. Like he is always at like a smidgen of health, and then like he'll hit me with a basic and be back at full, and I'm like, God dang it, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So I feel that. And
he's a momentum-based character. You don't take him out. He's just a nightmare for your team.
I agree. Yep. All right. You ready to spin?
Yeah, give it a spin.
Let's do this. Number 3. What kind of guide would be useful to a new player that doesn't already exist? And my examples were my niche guide, my mega niche guide, and Hate's Legendary Order guide.
And you have a cooldown guide too, right?
I do. I have not updated it in a very long time, and it's only available in the community center on game.
I love that guide.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to go in and update it then. It's been a very long time since I've updated it.
But I loved this question, by the way, because that's part of what I try to do on my channel is not just talk to endgame players, but newer players too. So do you want to take the first hit on this one?
I'm actually going to let you do it first because I made this question because I want to make another guide and I don't know what to do.
So, you know, it's funny because my answer is very similar to what you were talking about with filters, which is I would like to see a chart that cross-references abilities in the game to help with team synergy and character selection. So,
have you seen my niche guide? Because I think that's exactly what it is.
I thought the niche guide was more focused on the Tewty Toons characters.
No. The niche guide is like a big Google Doc, and it's like it looks like an Excel sheet where we list off all of the characters. It starts with leaders, and then it goes down into the normal characters. And as long as you keep scrolling, you'll see all of the different types of debuffs and buffs and types of like ways that they can attack or defend themselves. And there's little X's to mark which character has each way to do it. And the guy who put that together, I did like a Reddit version, and then Target, I think 8848 or something. I can't remember the numbers behind it. His name is Target. He put together the Excel sheet, and I just kind of went in and filled it in. And it's very well put together. I love it. It's basically everything you just said.
I must have confused, as I'm getting older, I have these moments more often. I guess I must have confused two different guides in my mind.
Let me see if I can find it for you, and then I'll send you the link while we're talking.
And I'll add that link to the video for the listeners.
Awesome.
So that's great that you have that, because to me it would be really nice to be able to go in and say, well, because we've been doing the Synergy series lately, which we're going to continue. So we've done stun teams and bleed teams so far. And it'd be nice, like you're describing, to be able to go in and say, okay, who are the stunners in the game? Who are the bleed characters in the game? Or who has turn meter up? Who has turn meter down?
Yeah, I just sent you the link.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. But yeah, it's very well organized. It's beautiful. I love this guide. I hope it gets used more often because I don't know if everyone knows about it or not.
So given that I goofed up and didn't even apparently read your guide.
It's okay. I'm not worried about it.
I guess when I heard the term niche, I thought it was more like niche characters as opposed to picking particular abilities.
No, it's more like what niche do they fit into? What are they capable of pulling off?
So what do you think would be useful for a new player?
Well, okay, so I want to see a guide, I think. And it sucks that I can't do this anymore because I want to see a guide where you see the power level of each character as they grow throughout the gear sets. I want that, but if you want to do that, you either have to create a whole new account and build every single character out there, which costs money, or you have to have just a conglomerate of people build it for you, and it's a lot more work that you probably need out of it. But if you wanted to do math of like power scores, like you can abuse the wraith system, like that would be a good way to do it.
It's a great idea. One of my very first posts in the community center was sort of along that lines because I used to teach stats, and so I was really interested in the numbers of the game. And so I was trying to do something, and I was running into the same problem that you're talking about, which is I didn't have numbers on each, rank 1 through 5. I didn't have legendary 1 through 5. And particularly with the way that PvP is set up right now, where people are really concerned about their characters going too high for their power rating because it bumps them or lowers the amount of points they can get for PvP, I think that'd be really helpful.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, even from the stance of knowing, well, what will my character be if I go legendary 3? Will they be too powerful and mess up my PvP point structure. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's just too difficult to pull off by one person, I think.
Yeah, I think it would take a lot of coordination to members of the community.
Right. That's probably why it just doesn't exist.
So I think we should pause for a sip of our healthy beverages, because I need a sip of my beverage.
Hey, look at you. You watch my videos.
I did watch your videos. And I know you're always promoting drinking healthy beverages, so I don't drink
or
any
alcohol,
soft drinks.
whichever you prefer.
Huh?
Or alcohol, you know.
I actually don't drink, believe it or not. I guess it's one of the Bizarro characteristics of me.
Oh, well. To each their own. I'm not going to judge you. As long as you don't judge me for being an alcoholic.
No judgment at all, my friend.
Cool.
All right, so let's give the wheel another spin.
Let's do it. If it loads here. Okay, there it goes. Did we already do 16? Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
All right, let's do another one.
The wheel likes 16, huh?
Number 5. What is your
5.
favorite team comp strategy? Whether it's a dynamic duo, a specific mechanic, up to you.
Okay. Do you want to go first this time?
Sure, I will go first.
Right.
Currently, my favorite combination strategy is Supergirl and Dr. Fate with an Atrocitus lead, just because they synergize so well together. The extra powerhouse is there. You get all those out-of-turn attacks from Dr. Fate. It's really beautiful to watch when you have really good RNG.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem with that, and the only problem with my other favorite dynamic duo of Scarecrow and Batman Beyond, is that Hal Jordan exists. But with all these new reworks of good leaders out there, like Red Hood, Lex Luthor, I'm seeing less of Hal lately, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So hopefully that those comps will come back and be more prevalent soon.
Yeah, I was a little howled out myself.
Yeah.
I just made that word up. Howl as a verb.
Yeah, I think we were all a little howled out.
It's interesting because, that's the thing I like about, and I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ear, but that's the thing I like about your series is because I think a truly great player figures out how to use tunes that are considered by others to not be so useful. And so it's really cool to hear you talk about the comp you're using, which is not a comp that you're going to see out there very often. Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of players, especially in the Owls, which I love the Owls, don't get me wrong, they're great people, but they're all very like, I want to win, and if I'm going to win, I need to have the best characters, and the best characters, the ones that are like obviously good, but there are so many characters that are good that just aren't obviously good.
Right.
So finding those characters is just one of my favorite things to do.
Mine is not so much the team that I had been using for a long time, which is the one that people hate, is the Deadshot, Red Robin, Black Adam, and Larfleeze. That wasn't so much out of a desire to win as it is laziness, because it's just fast. And when I play my PvP in the morning when I wake up and I just don't want to put the effort in, that team allows me to be very lazy.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. That's exactly why I did not gear those people. Well, I have Black Adam, but I geared Black Adam before he was reworked the first time. So don't judge me for that, being meta.
Well, all right. we can let you slide with having a few meta characters.
I mean, some of them are necessary. Like, I think I would be completely without any PvP stats if I didn't gear Donna Troy. But
yeah, she's almost like you can't get by without her, even if you don't want to have her.
So let's spin the wheel.
Well, I was going to talk about, because the team that I mentioned out of laziness is not the one that's my favorite to use.
Yes.
The one that I've been, sometimes what I like to do is leave a team on somebody's battle log that makes them look and go, now how did they win with that? And the team that I've been using is Red Hood, Manta, Castaway, Green Arrow, and Booster. It's all physical. but a lot of
Yeah.
bleeds. And I have been able to take down teams with that I probably should not be able to take down. But that turn meter from Red Hood is so addictive. And once you get one kill, you're pretty much rolling. And with the combination of turn meter and bleeds, I was having a lot of fun taking down even like Power Girl, things like that.
I was going to say, like, how do you take out Power Girl? I feel like one AoE and you're done, you know?
Well, what I was doing is you could put heal immunity on her with Red Hood, and so that stops the healing. But sometimes I would use Red Hood's second move once bleeds were on there, and that removes the taunt and the death immunity if you have enough bleeds.
But aren't you worried about the retaliation?
I am, but like I said, I want to stick it to the other person, so they're looking going, they beat me with an all-physical team with Power Girl?
I guess. That's fair. Yeah.
So,
okay, I can see that being a thing. I'm always worried to do that because I'm like, I'm going to lose. Power Girl's going to wipe my whole team with one AoE.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, we all know, like, when you're playing with your Power Girl, it never goes that way as the way it does with the AI.
Right. Exactly. Well, I didn't gear my Power Girl because, you know, but
you
I feel
played
that,
her, right? I mean, it's like death immunity, death immunity, death immunity, death immunity,
right.
Death immunity.
Hate Mail says that all the time in my Alliance chat. Like, especially the month that she was a Siege character, like nobody in my Alliance was pleased with their Power Girl's performance.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
All
right, so let's give the wheel another spin.
So we got number 6, and this question is very similar to the one that you have.
Yes.
Do you think that the red alerts should evolve into something different, or should they just change the shard rewards, or should they stay the same? I'll let you start.
Okay. So I think we can both agree at a basic level, they've got to change the character shards. They've just been stale for too long.
I agree.
But
actually, I don't necessarily agree, but I'll let you finish your point.
Well, I guess what I was going to say is if that's all we can get, then I'd at least like that. But I would also like something more because I think Red Alerts has potential. So one of the things that I was thinking of is if there could be 2 tiers of Red Alerts. And let's say I earn my rewards in the first tier, and then essentially I'm allowed to bet my rewards on a legendary tier where there are where the rewards include things that are a little bit more rare in the game, like blue hope rings or rarer characters. But essentially I'm putting everything I've won on the line on a bet to play a much more difficult a higher difficulty to earn better rewards. So that way it doesn't complicate the structure too much because I don't want their heads to explode.
Right.
But it at least allows something more for those of us who've been playing Red Alerts for a long time.
I agree to an extent. So there's a few... My simple idea with it, well, not my simple idea, it's kind of a mass group idea from my Alliance was that, first of all, they need to up the ante on the rewards a little bit. Like the green essence is absolutely pitiful.
Yes.
I feel like I want like every single of the 12 steps to be worth my while and not just like I need to get to the 12th node on this thing so I can get the 15 frags. Like that if that's the only thing I need, then it's just a chore to get to through the first 11, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I want every step of the way to be like, cool, I got this awesome thing now. And if I fail in the next one, I can be satisfied that I got up to this certain point. But then the next thing was that once you finish the 12, you have the opportunity to refresh. And I want that to be what you consider your bet into the next tier of rewards. So like if I got to refresh the second time, then maybe that 12th node will be a rebirth crystal, you know, or a giant chunk of legendary essence, which I can only farm twice a week right now, right? So give me something like that. Also, yes, you made a very good point with hope rings or just rings in general, because, you know, a lot of people have abundance of greens, but like I find myself short on rings. My average is like 40 to 80 green rings at a time, and sometimes will get all the way down to nothing. So just give us more, in a sense.
Yeah.
On that. They don't have to change the shards, honestly, because I have the unpopular opinion of loving Rebirth. And I like that shiny golden square, you know? And I know that the moderator's Joker in the CC, he hates the idea of Rebirth. He would have preferred a shard exchange. But I like Rebirth, and the fact that those characters haven't changed allows me to potentially get them to a good stage of Rebirth. As long as they offer us more avenues to farm other characters, I'm totally fine with them just keeping those characters the same.
Yeah, I think the only reason I would like to see at least some of them switched out is because there does tend to be a lot of the weaker characters that are rewards. Like, how many Grundy pieces do I really need? Because I'm never going to waste my Rebirth crystals on Grundy. As much as I even like him as a character.
Right.
But it's just like, I guess I've been playing Red Alert since they first came around, maybe. But it is just, you know.
Do you refresh them every day?
No, I mean,
or not refresh them, but finish them?
Most every day I do, simply because I want, well, I want to, I figure as fast as I can go to win them is probably as fast as it would take me to put in people to die for 10 times. So I just go ahead and do it. But it's gotten to where, you know, like it's just boring to see the same characters month after month after month on there. I mean, my Killer Frost is rebirthed. I love her to death. Great character. But do I, you know, am I going to go RB2 and are most players going to go RB2 with characters like that? I don't know.
Yeah. Fair enough. There's some characters on there like Swamp Thing. I would like to see a Rebirth 5 Grundy just because I think he'd be almost impossible to kill.
Yeah.
But whatchamacallit, they need to rebirth him or rework him again anyway.
Yeah, if you weren't penalized for characters dying, I'd be all over Grundy.
Right. Should we try and speed it along and get some more topics in?
Sure. Let's spin the wheel again.
All right, let's do that.
I have to hear it going tick 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 in the background.
Oh yeah, no, this one doesn't do that, unfortunately. We just talked about that. Did that one? Oh wow, they're giving me like the same numbers over and over again. Hold on, I'm just gonna pick one. All right, so number 4, opinion. Did we do 4 already?
No, that was the one you said we would do. We each chose one we would do regardless of time.
Okay, so let's do this one then, and then we'll do yours right after that.
All right, sounds good.
So the number 4, your opinion on the Tewty Toons series, and my opinion on the Bizarro Style series.
All right, so we have to make sure we're not roasting each other here because this is not a roast. So first of all, I'm very jealous of your production value. The beginning of yours is a lot more exciting with the microphone shaking and the music going than mine, where I just say goodbye, everybody. So I'm a little jealous there, but the other thing that I mentioned it before, is I like the idea of giving love to underappreciated characters because we all need love at the end of the day, and we don't want any of our characters to not be getting that love. So I really like the idea, like I said also when you were talking about the comp that you use, is figuring out ways to use these characters in ways that the average player would not think about. Because, as I said, I think that's the sign of a truly great player, when you can think of these characters and say, well, yeah, they get a bad rap, but how can I really fit them in there to make it work? So I love that idea, and I think the way you do the videos is very accessible for both new players and older players. And plus your style is very engaging. My only critique might be I wish you could give a little more love to the meta.
Well, see, that's the whole point, though. You know, everyone knows the meta. Everyone is aware of the meta. So I'm trying. Yeah, you know.
But still, that breakdown of a character helps, right?
Yeah, you're right. I don't have any of those characters geared, so like, and that's the problem. Like, I'm not Hate Mail or Bullseye the Ocean, who have all characters level 80 L5.
Yeah.
So I have to slowly gear these characters out too. And I left those heavy meta ones, the ones that I hate seeing all the time. I left them on the back burner for a reason, but. You're right. I could easily just be like, oh, they also fit into this synergy team. So yeah, I could do that.
You could maybe just do it every once in a while so you don't break the style of the show, because the other thing I was going to tell you is you have a really good way of presenting information. You got a good sense of humor. You're very relaxed when you do the show, and it makes it fun to watch.
Probably because I'm drinking. No.
And as I've told you in private chat, you're much more brave than I am because you'll show your face. I will not show my face.
Well, I understand that too. Like, I don't even think Hate Mail or the WROL boys have shown their face, aside from Kage, because Kage's on like Facebook and stuff. But whatchamacallit, I get that because it's a community on the internet, and the internet has creepy people on it, so I get it.
It can be cruel.
Yeah. That too, yeah, it can be very cruel. So my thoughts on the Bizarro style, which I'm gonna give you one critique, but everything else is majorly positive. I'm preparing myself. You and Mr. Galahad have very good voices, and you speak very clearly, and you're very organized. And I think that's served you very well. The graphics that you have as well. Like, I think, was it Silver Fox that made your graphics?
Yes.
Yeah, he makes some pretty good graphics,
yes,
and I'm glad that he made those for you. The topics that you discuss have been pretty varied, and they've been pretty good discussions. I really like the Team Synergy series that you guys have. I think I watched the one that you had with Ogre, and I watched the one that you had. Was it Bleed? Was the other one?
Yes.
Yeah, I watched both of those. Those were very good. And I'm actually kind of jealous because that was my plan. Because I was like, when I finish the Tewty Toons series, then I'll just like mesh all the characters together and make a synergy series. But you've already started it, so I'll have to figure something else out now.
We stole the idea.
It's okay. I'm not worried. The end of the Tewty Toons series is like a very long way off yet, so not worried about it. My one critique is that I feel like you might be a little too organized. Like, you stay on topic pretty good, which is nice, but you don't give yourselves a whole lot of room to be free and joke around a little bit and have some fun. And I think that can attract a bigger audience, but that is my only critique. Everything else I have seen has been fairly well thought out and organized.
And I think it's a fair critique because, in a way, it's just as I relax a little, I think I'll joke around more and get a little bit more free-spirited. Maybe if I did drink, it would help, but I don't.
But that's okay. You don't have to.
No, I'm just kidding. I think it'll come with time as I relax a little. But you're right. Like, because if my audience doesn't know, I'm a former professor, and so I'm used to being very regimented, a little bit serious. But I did try to throw humor in there every once in a while when I was a professor. So I think once I relax, I think it'll come. But it's a fair critique.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, shall we spin the wheel?
Let's spin the wheel.
You're going to do your number 8 now.
Oh, I'm going to do my number 8. Okay, so number 8, the question was, should weekly alliance rewards and reward structure be changed? And if so, how would you change them or it? And just to explain what I mean here, the weekly rewards are basically the alliance essence that you get that you can spend in the shop. And the way it is right now is you get 40,000 for first place. You get for second through 10th place, you get 16,000 in alliance essence. And then there's rewards for 11 through 100. And I just don't feel like it's structured very well because I'm not sure what my motivation is to go for top 10. So that was the motivation behind the question, because the difference between 8K and 16K wasn't that great in my opinion. And actually, I'd rather you start the answer to this one, just because I am the one who posed the question and already sort of knew what I was thinking.
Okay. So you're right, there's a few hiccups with this. So the top 3 in the alliance, like the top 3 performers, their reward for being top 3 is dismal.
Yeah.
Abysmally low quality reward. So
ooh, 100.
Yeah, exactly. Granted, it's a weekly thing, so maybe it doesn't need to be super high, but it needs to be, it needs to motivate you to go for the extra goal,
Yeah.
As far as like what you can use the points for, I think that the Alliance shop is well crafted. I like the fact that every now and again they'll recycle a character out and then put someone new in. But I do like the fact that it's been a steady flow of certain characters for a long time, and I don't necessarily want them to do a massive overhaul on that Alliance shop. I want them, if they were going to ever offer more character fragments, to be in a different location, because Rebirth exists and it takes 5,000 fragments to get all the way to Rebirth 5. So I need a steady flow of a specific character to get there. So I don't need the rewards to change that much. I like that the fact that it offers energy, both PvP and PvE. I like that it offers gear every now and again. I wish they would take out the gear that nobody needs, because every now and again it'll pop up with a gear thing that I've got 3,000 of, and I don't need it. So give me the rare gear that I can purchase with Alliance points. That'd be great. But as far as my big thing about changing it is how we farm Alliance points. So right now I currently farm most of my points on PvE days, because I'm always low on green essence anyway, so I just go balls to the wall on Alliance PvE days. And PvP days, I know some people try and make it fun in PvP days where they take those Alliance characters and try and make them work, which is awesome. I like that they are trying to motivate you to do that, but I always make significantly less points on those days. So if they gave us a new way to farm points, that would be wonderful.
I like those suggestions. I especially like the suggestion about the gear, because you're right. I mean, there's so many times we're going in the shop and saying, do I really need more of this because I have 3 of it? It just doesn't make sense to me. Was there anything else you were going to add before
I want you to have your tangent. Go for it.
So the big thing to me that's the problem with weekly is, like I was saying, is the way that the tiers for the way teams finish. First place, 2nd through 10th, 11th through 100. And so let me explain what I mean, which is, so the first place reward I think is very worth it, 40,000. It's a nice chunk. But the difference between 10th and 11th, which is 8,000, is not much. And the amount of gems and the amount of resources that an Alliance has to spend to go top 10 is not worth the reward you're getting. So they need to have more tiers and the structure of the rewards a little better, in my opinion. And perhaps they could even add fragments every week for a character that's tough to get, that makes it worth it to push for 2nd through 10th or 1st. Because as it stands, in my own Alliance, I tell the guys, I don't think it's worth it to go 2 through 10.
I agree. It's too much work, and there's a lot of risk that you might fall out of that top 10.
Yeah. So that's what I thought, and the idea of throwing in a rare character with some shards, and it's, you have those tiers where you get a certain number of shards for 1st and 2nd and so on. I think it would be just a nice bonus, a kicker to have in there. So that's what I was thinking, when I wrote the question, is I just think the structure doesn't lend itself to teams wanting to compete as hard as they would. Although I
Yeah.
would like to give a shout out to my team for finishing in the top 10 for the first time.
Nice.
We didn't do it on purpose. It just happened by accident.
You just really needed some green essence that week.
A lot of us did.
Okay.
So
Oh, man.
why don't we do one more bonus spin of the wheel, and then we'll call it a show.
Very well.
And hopefully it'll give us a good number.
Number 12. Will Ultraman and Owlman have an impact on the meta?
So you're not a big fan of the meta. So one of the things that I always think is like we should define what is meta, because I think a lot of people use that term, and I don't know if a viewing audience always knows what it means. But it can be an acronym, and it can stand for most effective team available.
Fair enough.
So do you want to hit this one first?
Sure. Okay. So when Owlman dropped, a lot of people were like, okay, so the evasion meta is completely dead now. It is out, gone, nobody wants it anymore. The devs understand that. They gave us Owlman for it specifically. Great. But Wonder Girl exists, and Owlman is basically a red Steppenwolf. So he's going to throw 80,000 buffs on your team, and you're going to get whipped to, Timbuktu or whatever.
Yeah.
And whatchamacallit, so all your greens are going to die if you put Owlman on your team. The creation of Owlman just made Wonder Girl relevant again, and we've all seen her nonstop for a year and a half now, which is just insane. And I like Owlman, especially like as soon as he came out, or they dropped his release notes. I was like, "Who is Owlman? What is that?" And so I googled it, and they have an animated movie about Owlman and the crime syndicate, and it's really, really good actually.
Yeah. And I even mentioned a great trade paperback that's out there with called Forever Evil with Owlman and Ultraman. It's very good.
Yeah, weren't you the one that was requesting them all the time too?
Yeah, I requested them every month for a year.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you finally got them. But Ultraman, I do think Owlman has his good parts. Actually, I'm going to create a team with Owlman on it that might bring a non-meta tune back into the fold, which I'm happy about. But I'm more excited about Ultraman. And even though Owlman is like the main character of that storyline, Ultraman has a great kit. And even though I don't really care about Ultraman lore-wise, the kit is like more effective than everything Mirror Master is good at. Ultraman does it better, and he's tanky, and he has damage, and he has a taunt. So there's a lot of stuff going on with Ultraman, and Ultraman's also going to fit really well with my Dr. Fate and Supergirl combo.
Mm-hmm.
So I've normally on Siege month, I normally limit myself to 3 energy packs per month, but I've bought like 5 this month because I want to make sure I stay in that like top 150. I don't know if I'll get there because we still have a long way to go.
Yeah, I actually bought
Day of his sale to do a Tewty Toon on him. He's already G11 for me, but he's only got 3 stars, so he's not the most effective yet.
Yeah. This was one of the rare months I ever actually bought one of those Siege energy packs in the middle because, like you, I want to finish high for Ultraman. But mine has to do more for the desire I had for this character for a year.
Right.
I agree with a lot of your points on Owlman because I think Owlman's biggest downfall is if his third move could not miss and would punish an evasion character for causing your other tunes to miss, he'd be the ultimate counter to an evasion character. But you're right, the problem is he can't, and his teammates can't keep the hit chance ups long enough because of Wonder Girl, who's always been combined with those evasion characters. So it's not working the way it was intended for anti-evasion. However, I would say I'm really enjoying him with Lex, and the reason I'm enjoying him with Lex is he gives Owlman gives turn meter up to every critical hit, and then plus you're getting turn meter up from Lex if you're buffing, so you can get this double turn meter up between Lex and Owlman. So I'm running Lex, Owlman, Castaway Green Arrow, and Black Adam, and I'm just roasting teams, and it is fun. It is a lot of fun.
Yeah, is your Owlman already G11?
He is. I have
How many?
Legendary 3, Gear 11, level 70.
Nice. Okay.
So he's a lot of fun to play with, but not for the reason I thought. I like you. I thought he was going to be this amazing anti-evasion character, and it turns out he's better at turn meter. So.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I haven't gotten him to G11 yet. He's only G10 for me, but I'm working on it still.
I love the character.
Yeah, he's a very interesting character, especially after seeing many clips from that movie.
Yeah, you should, like I said, you should read Forever Evil. It's a great, it's a sort of out of the normal universe of what I should say, it's not part of the consistent story they have going in DC Comics, so it's kind of out on its own, but it's still a lot of fun to read.
I will. I'll look into that.
All right, so I want to thank you for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun to do this with you.
Yeah, I loved it too. It was really, I love this random topic stuff.
Yeah, I think we should do it again.
They're fun to talk about.
And maybe we can even ask our viewers to say, if you liked this, let us know so that we can do it again. Leave us a comment in the comment section, and also like the video so that way we know you liked what we did. And subscribe to my channel, and please check out Tewtytron's channel on YouTube. Thanks again, Tewtytron.
No problem. Thank you for having me.